Welcome. Today we're going to be practicing three kinds of problems. We're going to convert within the US system, that's one. We're going to convert within the metric system, that's two. And then we're going to convert between the two, okay? So I've underlined important words in our directions. It says review of converting between units. We're going to solve each problem either using unit analysis, that's in the US system, or decimal point movement, that's in the metric system. So let's take a look at this first problem. It says it's 180 miles from Indianapolis to Chicago. How far is this in inches? So I want to take 180 miles and I want to see how many inches that is. It's going to be a lot of inches, isn't it? Here's how we'll convert. We'll start with 180 miles. And realizing that I don't have a way to convert from miles to inches, I'm going to do a two-step conversion. First from miles to feet, and then from feet to inches. Notice that my last unit is inches, and that's what I want to end up with. Okay, so I set my conversion factors. I'm going to put numbers in now. Feet and miles. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. Since those are equal, they make the number 1. 1 foot is 12 inches. So I've set some conversion factors, and now I have a multiplying problem. It looks a lot like multiplying fractions. I'm going to cancel the units that match. Miles cancel. Notice they're diagonal to each other. Feet cancel, they're diagonal, and I'm left with inches. Now I can do the calculating. 180 times 5,280 times 12 is a very large number, isn't it? It's 11,404,800 inches. So it's a lot of inches between Indianapolis and Chicago. So that's a problem where you're converting within the US system. Problem number 2, we have a dollar bill that is 15.6 centimeters long. I want to know how long this is in meters. So I have 15.6 centimeters. I want to know how long that is in meters. Notice when I do the abbreviation for miles, I put MI. The abbreviation for meters is just M. So you want to be careful with your abbreviations there. Well, in converting within the metric system, I have a little memory device that I showed on another video. King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. Kilo, hecto, deca, the unit itself, deci, centi, and milli. So this lines up the different units within the metric system. I'm going from centimeters, which is over here, to meters, which is the unit. And I'm going to count how many places I go. 1, 2. I'm going 2 places to the left. That means I can take my decimal point 2 places to the left and get 0.156 meters. Some courses will ask you to use the unit analysis method to convert from centimeters to meters. If I were doing that, I would have 15.6 centimeters over 1. I'm going to multiply centimeters over meters. It takes 100 centimeters to equal 1 meter. So 1 meter is 100 centimeters. I'm going to cross-cancel my centimeters. I'll multiply the top, multiply the bottom, and you end up taking 15.6 and dividing it by 100. Well, that's moving the decimal point 2 spots to the left, isn't it? So we won't ask you to write this out. We'll just ask you to do the decimal point movement because it's a quick and easy way. That's the whole point of the metric system, is to be able to convert easily. Okay, our next one. We're going to convert inches to feet. We have Tim Duncan, who's a basketball player. He's 84 inches tall. How tall is this in feet? So we're taking 84 inches, and it equals how many feet? So one aspect of doing these problems is to think about what you're starting with and what you're ending with. So you can write a little sentence like I have over here, a little equation. I want to make inches into feet. So I have 84 inches. I'm going to multiply it by a conversion factor that changes inches to feet. 1 foot is 12 inches. I'll cross cancel here. I'm going to multiply 84 times 1 and 12 times 1. And then I'll take 84, divide it by 12, and it comes out to be a lovely even 7 feet. So 84 inches equals 7 feet. We have an orange juice container that contains 4 cups of liquid. I want to know how many fluid ounces this is. So I have 4 cups equals how many fluid ounces. Now, fluid ounces aren't like weight, are they? They're the volume measurement. Remember, the fluid ounces, it takes 8 fluid ounces to equal 1 cup. So I'm going to take 4 cups, and I'm going to change from cups to fluid ounces. I'm going to cross cancel the cups. I guess I should put my numbers in first. 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. And I'm going to cross cancel my cup label, multiply my numerators. 4 times 8, that's 32. My denominators, 1 times 1, fluid ounces. So 4 cups equals 8 fluid ounces. Using the conversion factor of 1 cup equals 8 fluid ounces. Next, we have a tank of gasoline in England that contains 64 liters. We don't know how many milliliters this is. So I have 64 liters. I want to know how many milliliters this is. Remember, our King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. The unit here is going to be liters. That's the volume measurement in the metric system, the basic one. So I've got 64 liters here, and I want to find out how many milliliters that is. So milliliters is over here. So I'm going to start at 64 liters. 1, 2, 3 hops to the right. That means my decimal has to go 3 places to the right. 64 has a decimal at the end of the number. So I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3 places. That's going to require adding 3 zeros, isn't it? So 64 liters is 64,000 milliliters. Last one here on this side. A well-known hamburger is called a quarter pounder. If it were measured in ounces, it would be called a how much ounces. So we want to take a quarter pound and convert it into ounces and see what it would be. So a quarter pound is a 0.25 pound. That's a quarter. And I want to change that and see how many ounces that is. Since 1 pound equals 16 ounces, I'm going to write a problem that has a conversion factor from pounds to ounces. Here's my ounces that I want to end up with. It's my ending place. So I started with pounds. I'm converting it to ounces. Since 1 pound is 16 ounces. I'll put my numbers in my conversion factor. I'm going to cross cancel the labels. Take 0.25 times 16, you're going to get 4. So it would be called a 4-ouncer. Doesn't sound quite as good as a quarter pound, does it? That's the first part, is converting within each measure itself. We have a second page here that's going to be converting between the US system and the metric system, and you're going to need the conversion chart on the yellow notes that I gave you, or on page 469. And we're just going to be converting in length. We're not going to convert in this class volume or weight. We'll just do the length. We have some conversion factors. I'd like you to use the ones there because they're the ones that will come out with the correct answers. If you use something else, your answers might be off because they're rounded off a little bit differently. Okay, so let's take a look at I'm not sure why it has 21A there. It should be just 1A. I've got two parts here, okay? The height of the Sears Tower in Chicago is 442 meters. Show two different ways to convert this to feet using unit analysis. If you look at your chart, we have a couple different feet to meters conversions. We have 1 foot equals 0.305 meters, and we have 1 meter equals 3.281 feet. So let's use those and do the problem two different ways. Here's the first way. We have 442 meters. I'm going to multiply by a conversion factor that changes from meters to feet. Over here I have 1 foot equals 0.305 meters. So 1 foot, 0.305 meters. Again, I have my conversion factor set up so that I can cross cancel the units. Now I'm going to multiply my top numbers, 442 times 1. My bottom numbers, 1 times 0.305, and my unit is going to be feet. If I take 442 and divide it by the 0.305, I'm going to get an answer of 1449.2. I'm going to round off to tenths here. And those are feet. So there's one correct answer. Okay, we have a different conversion factor. There's two different ways. 1 foot equals or 1 meter equals. So let's start back here with our 442 meters over 1. Again, we're converting from meters to feet. This time I have 1 meter equals 3.281 feet. I'll cross cancel my units again. This time I have a multiplying problem. 442 times 3.281 equals 1450.2 feet. Here's my other answer. So I use two different conversion factors that are basically the same thing. Each one of them equals the number 1. Did I get the same answer? No, they weren't exactly the same, were they? They were off about a foot. One was 14.49, the other one was 14.50. Well, that's because those conversion factors have been rounded. They're given to us in terms of thousandths, 3 decimal places, but they could have been rounded off to 10 decimal places because they're not nice even numbers. There isn't a nice even foot to meter conversion. It's not 1 meter equals 3 feet, it's 1 meter equals 3.281. It's a little bit more than 3 feet. So here's another one. Most rulers in the United States are 12 inches long. How long is this in centimeters? And it says to round the answer to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so we want to take 12 inches and see how many centimeters that is. So I'm going to look on my table and see that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. And notice there isn't at the bottom 1 centimeter equals. Okay, so we've only got one conversion factor here, so we're going to just have one answer. So we have 12 inches. I'm going to convert from inches to centimeters, so my conversion factor is going to have inches in the denominator, centimeters in the numerator. Put my numbers in. 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. I'll cross cancel my units to make sure that what I'm left with is centimeters. That's correct. That means I got my numbers in the right place. I'll multiply 12 times 2.54 and get 30.48 centimeters. So 30.48. 12 inches is around 30 centimeters, 30 and a half. So we've got another kilometers to miles situation here. You can use either conversion factor. I'm going to use the one that I think is the simplest, and I'll explain why I think it's the simplest here in a minute. We're going to round this to the nearest mile when we're done. Okay, so distance from Seattle to Kansas City is around 3,000 miles, 2,996, kilometers. And we want to see how far that is in miles. Okay, so we're starting with 2996.96 kilometers, and we want to see how many miles that is. I'm going to start off with my starting amount. I'm going to multiply it by a conversion factor that changes from kilometers to miles. And I'm going to use the 1 kilometer equals 0.621 miles. Why do you suppose I chose that one? Well, notice that when I choose that one, I have ones down here in my denominator, and so I don't have to do any dividing. All I have to do is multiply my two numerators. Cross cancel, make sure I've got the right numbers in the right place. I'm going to multiply 2996.96 times 0.621, and I get 1,861, and we want it to go to the nearest mile. So that 0.11 means that it's going to be just 1861. There isn't enough to make it 1862. So 1,800 miles. So there are several samples that you can use to practice changing within the US system, within the metric system, and then between the two.